All right. So it looks like Starbucks got themselves a new CEO, and they paid him a grip. They opened up the little Scrooge McDuck bank vault, got out all them gold coins, and basically shoved them this dude's way, basically. So, yes, Starbucks hired a man by the name of Brian Niccol, and he was a former CEO of Chipotle, and he's largely credited with Chipotle's like rise to the top, basically. Right now, please know this is a random topic. Now, this is how random this is, right? But there's some things that I want to point out here. But this is really random because if you know me, you know that I cannot stand coffee. Like, I mean, I don't get coffee. I don't like it. I don't understand how something that smells so good can taste so nasty. And I know what the coffee drinkers, they sell it. They said it to me for years. All the coffee drinkers are just like, yo, all you gotta do is put a little bit of creamer and sugar in it. But then it's just like, I would have to put so much creamer and sugar in it. It's basically juice. And then I'm like, well, I may as well just drink juice. But if that's the case, I want to drink something healthy. I may as well drink a protein shake. You follow my logic there? So this dude. So Brian became the highest paid, or something like that. I think it was the highest paid CEO in corporate history. Right, like his compensation package is ridiculous. So it's so like I couldn't just randomly say like, yeah, he gets $60,000 a year. No, like he has a full on compensation package that is just ridiculous. Right, so I had to write it down. Like he gets $1.6 million in base salary. Now, okay, cool. That's cool. That's cool. And he gets up to $23 million a year, mind you. That base salary, $1.6 million a year, is base. That's what he's always going to get, no matter what. He gets up to $23 million in share-based bonuses annually. So that's based on, Starbucks' stock price, right? So another thing he gets is up to $3.6 million in basically a cash bonus. So that's actually more like his bonus. 1.6 million with a chance to get 3.6 million and another up to 23 million in stock options, basically. He gets a $10 million sign-on bonus though. And then he gets another 75 to $80 million in equity replacement, basically replacing any lost value he might have by giving up, Chipotle stock, basically. That's it, but that's not it. He also gets basically he has a remote office in California that they're paying for, right? And access to the company jet. Starbucks gave him access. He gave him keys to the jet for him to travel as he sees fit. So, and that's his entire compensation package. Like that's bananas. And I'm just like, like I'm reading it again. It's just like that's crazy money for a CEO of a company where the total compensation package of the guy who was in there before him was upwards would be like 20 something million. This comes out to being like 110, 113, 114, $115 million, something like that. That's crazy. That's crazy money. That's crazy money for a corporate job. But there's more to this, right? And let me preface this real quick by saying, like, I do not own any Chipotle stock. I do not own any Starbucks stock. So I'm not actually interested in what happens in promoting it or anything like that. It's just I'm more so. This says a lot. This says a lot, and there's some tips that you can pull from this. There's some advice that you can pull from this. There's some actionable items that you can pull from this particular situation, right? So the first thing you wanna consider is what are people saying about this, right? So you have a man who kind of is already a proven commodity coming on, and look, Starbucks, for what it's worth, good for them. They knew exactly what they wanted and they got it, right? They stopped at nothing to get this dude. So, and from what I hear, from what I understand, Brian also negotiated some of these items as well, and Starbucks was, amenable to his side of the negotiation, right? So it was just like he wanted to be there, they wanted him there, and this is what it required, right? But there's a lot of, I think the commentary on it is very interesting, right? So I've seen a whole bunch of different things, and I've heard bunch of different reports concerning this, saying that like, well, their sticking point to start was the remote work thing, right? Because apparently Starbucks just called their employees back into the office. I don't know if it was full time or whatever, but that's something that's happening all across, I'm guessing all across the world now, right? Like remote work is probably not going anywhere, right? But it does seem to be a trend a lot of bigger companies are doing in bringing everybody back into the office for reasons, right? So, and in all honesty, I'm not saying I'm wholeheartedly against it, but I'm definitely not wholeheartedly for it, right? But there's a bunch of people basically were saying like, he gets to work remote, but all of us, we have to go into the office. And I thought that was the silliest thing to say. It's the silliest thing to say because you're not a CEO. So what are you complaining about? Like, it's just, and it brings up what I really want to talk about here, right? The actionable item that you should take from this story is that there should not be a point in time in which you're not leveling up your skill set. Okay. We have this gentleman, Brian Niccol, who came from, basically took Chipotle from one point and put them on the map and put them on a completely different point, right? And this goes kind of hand in hand with some of the things that I've seen from, I spoke about him before, from Myron Golden, right? He has this idea that value is, there's 4 levels of value, right? And I think this is a great example of the 4 levels of value that he speaks of, because you have people who within the corporate world are not as valuable as he is, basically saying and kind of hating on why a company would give him all of that and allow him to do all of that. And or the other flip side is why a company would make them do something that they wouldn't make their CEO do. And it's just like there's different levels of value here, right? So the way Myron Golden explained it, and I'm paraphrasing it, maybe I'll drop in a link to that if I can find it. I'll drop in a link to the video when he explains it. But there's 4 levels of value. So it's basically like the bottom level, the least valuable level, I guess, if you want to call it that, because you get paid based on your value, the value that you provide the company, but the value that you provide others, right? So now you have that lower tier level, and that's basically you're just doing the work, right? So you're putting the pieces together, or you're crunching the numbers. You're really at just doing the base work. That next level up is the people who manage the people who just do the work. And there's a good chance that they're just doing some of the work as well, right? But they're the leader amongst the, maybe 5-10 people or something like that who are just doing the work, but they're still responsible for doing the work as well. And next level up, you get paid for your communication, right? So these are the communicators. These are the people who are organizing and getting everybody in order and kind of not necessarily charting the vision, but explaining the vision so that everybody understands and they know what orders and directives that they have to follow through to provide value, right? And then that last level, you get paid for your thinking. You get paid for your imagination. That top flight level, most people get paid for their imagination, their thinking, right? So there's the 4 levels, and again, I'm paraphrasing, I might be slightly off in some of them, but that's at least the way I look at it, right? So you have a whole bunch of people who are simply the workers. They're the ones that are doing the thing, right? And they're valuable, but they're not the ones that are charting the course. You get paid to chart the course, because if you could provide value to millions of people as opposed to just 4 or 1 by doing the thing, that's why the scales kind of change a little bit. So my suggestion then becomes just level up constantly, level up. You should be thinking about ways to level up, ways to improve each of those levels or each of those areas of value, right? So it's like, hey, look, I can do the work. Cool. All right. Don't just level up in learning how to do the work, and don't just level up to do the work better. Now, can you lead people to do the work, right? So now you got to kind of become a teacher a little bit here too. Level up in their teaching. All right. Now that next level up is communicator. Beef up your communication skills. Beef up your speech. Learn how to write better emails. Things like that. Like, and then these are silly, not silly examples, but smaller examples, right? Now you beefed up your communication. You beefed up already how to do the thing. You beefed up your teaching skills. You beefed up your ability to get the job done and to provide value at the base level. Now what? Now you got to beef up your thinking. You got to be able to see things from different perspectives, not just your own. And you got to be able to imagine ways to get things, imagine ways to create the most amount of value for someone else other than yourself. The people at the lowest end of that value scale, they're not doing that. They're doing the work, right? So there's a big difference. And what I found was a lot of the people, and I'm not saying all, I'm not saying every, I'm just in the general sense, a lot of the people, though, that were complaining about this man's compensation package, they weren't necessarily on a level of being paid for their imagination. So overall, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is it's important for you to level up your skills so that you can level up the value that you provide others, not just yourself, right? And that's important. So this dude got paid on the value that he provides others, right? So, and a lot of the people who are complaining are just worried about the value that's provided to them. So there's a big difference, and I get it, and I understand it in some cases, because again, not all CEOs are good guys, right? Like, and I understand some of the people who are just like, you know, CEOs are trash. Why they get paid so much, and so on and so forth. But if you really think about it, like when it comes to business, I mean, again, that highest level of value is your thinking, your imagination. How can you orchestrate and organize providing the maximum amount of value to people, to humanity, right? So it's just like, I guess the group of people that I don't particularly get are just the people who are like CEOs, they get paid so much. Grrr. Like, grow up. They get paid that much for a reason, right? And if you are mad at how much they get paid or how little you get paid, well, level up. Provide more value. And it might not be with a company. It might just be to humanity, period, right? Or find a better situation. Use your imagination to create a better situation in which you're paid more instead of complaining about it, right? So that's my advice concerning that, right? And that's what I see from this particular situation, right? Good for him. He's obviously worked. He's obviously put things together. He's obviously using something because he already has proof of concept. So it's just like, you know, good for him. I mean, that's a lot of money, but good for him, right? And my hope is that you would take something from that and say, hey, you know what? All right, I'm going to become a better this. I'm going to become a better that. You know, I'm going to become a better communicator. I'm going to become a better teacher. I'm going to become a better thinker, right? That's how you really increase the value that you provide to humanity. All right, let's keep it pushing. So if you like this segment, here's another one for you. Click over here. And if you want the entire podcast, Go this way. Click on that one right there. And once again, I appreciate you. All right, you take it easy.